Hello, friends, and welcome back to Zapp Savvy, the podcast that electrifies your world with energy solutions.
That's right. We're back for another episode. I'm Mike Sokol.
And I'm Doug Curtis, and we're your hosts.
Today, we'll be continuing our discussion on solar power from last episode. Over the course of the next 4 episodes, we'll be talking about the ways you can use solar power in your outdoor lifestyle. This episode, we're starting with the basics, tent camping. But our first segment is favorite camping memories.
Well, I have a favorite camping memory. Actually, it was about 15 years ago. And of course, I live in Florida. We were camping in the Bahia Honda. We were actually tent camping. Now, you got to understand that no matter what time you go camping in Florida, it's always hot. So there I got the big tent. I got my wife. I got my 2 daughters. And I had to sort of plug in a long extension cord. And I put a box fan in the top of the tent so we could have a little bit of air conditioning because it was really hot right there by the beach in the Keys. And wouldn't you know, in the middle of the night, a 50-mile-an-hour wind came up, the rain came up, the power went out. Halfway through the night, we had water in the tent. I couldn't have it plugged in. We woke up in the morning. It was a mess. Of course, we didn't have anything that was cold because I was also running an electric portable fridge freezer. Everything was a mess. I mean, we had no comfort, and we sure could have used some comfort that night.
All good. So was that the end of your camping, or you continued after that?
Actually, we had to persuade the girls to go camping again, and I have a lot more stories, and so maybe I'll save another story for another time.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you my first 3 camping trips here that could have actually ended everything, and this is actually pretty quick. So, when we were 10 years old, my dad was a school teacher, so he had the whole summer off. He was looking for cheap vacations, right? So he was he was in the military, in the reserves. So he borrowed one of those really ugly big green canvas army tents. And he decided
very heavy.
Oh my goodness. And he's got strong boys. So my brother, my twin, I'm 10, my brother's 10, my younger brother's 8, my sister's 6, but she was the princess. She didn't have to do anything. So Dad set up this thing. We're going camping on Swallow Falls. Now, he did not do any prep because he was used in the Army ordering other people to do stuff, right? So we had no cooking stove. We had no lantern. We had no nothing. We go up there and set up this really heavy tent. And, in the morning, Dad figures us with our Cub Scout skills are going to be starting a fire from wood in the woods. It's the rain that night. So he's burning up my comic books I had stashed under the seats to kind of heat up a frying pan. We had like raw bacon and eggs for breakfast. That was trip number 1. So he decides later this summer, we're going to Assateague Island. We're going to watch the ponies swim. We take the same tent, we set this up on the sand, and then we have the mosquitoes attack us. And then we're sleeping in the tent with sand on the floor after we're sunburned for the day. We go get Benadryl for us. My mom rubs it on us, discovers that she's deathly allergic to Benadryl. Her arms and hands swell up. We've got to take her to the emergency room. Okay, that was number 2. So then Dad decides next season he's getting a Cox pop-up camper, and he's putting a tow hitch on, or he just got a Plymouth station wagon. The Cox pop-up camper, as humble as it was the trick. That made it work. You could fold that thing out. You could do all kinds of things. You each had your own bed section on it. You weren't sleeping on the ground. And I mean, we took that for the next, 6 years or so, maybe 8 years. One of my fondest memories is being in the Gaspé Peninsula up in Canada. While, man was landing on the moon, I was building model rockets in these ST's rockets in this thing while we're camping out in the middle of the woods. I mean, so it worked. The first 2 were real hiccups. The third one actually took, and after that, we camped through 40 states and half of Canada with that little Cox pop-up camper.
Good for you, Mike. I know when you're talking, you're reminding me of so many other stories myself. It would have been really great if we would have had, even 15 years ago, I didn't have any solar power back then. I mean, it was really tough to be comfortable. So maybe we should really sort of put together a little breakdown how we can use some of this new technology with solar generators and how people are using them. Maybe you could just sort of jump into that, Mike, and sort of walk us through it. I'll sort of try to be the layman and ask you foolish questions because a lot of these things are new to me too.
Right. Now, first off, they call them generally solar generators. I don't like the terminology so much, but this is what they all call them. When you look them up, that's what you're going to see. I have a bunch of these that I've been doing testing for the last couple of years on, so I can speak to how they work and what you can do with them. I have a number of the ones from a company called Jackery. They're the first ones I think to really hit the market. So they've got they come in different sizes. We're going to focus on one that might be useful for tent camping and some trailer camping, but these are really the size that you can pick up, about the size of a big lunchbox. So the Jackery Solar Generator Explorer 500, they listed as 518 watt hours of portable power. And so let's describe this a little bit. So they may have a 500 watt inverter in them, but also the other part is the actual battery capacity. So, for instance, this guy, it says it's 518 watt hours of portable power, a lithium battery pack. And I believe it also has a 500 watt inverter in it. You can also get a 100 watt solar panel. Now, you don't need the solar panel unless you're going to be away from things for days, but it's pretty nice. And so they make a nice folding panel. It's a 100 watt one. And I think they're really, really useful. So, and you can also, they've got a description here on their site, the things that you can run for this. They have a description on their site that you can run a blender for 50 minutes. Now, this is marketing people. I don't know how many of you have margarita blenders when you go camping, but you can run it for 50 minutes. You can run an air pump for 8 hours. Okay. Again, and a mini cooler for 9 hours. I've actually done some mini cooler experiments we'll talk about in a bit. And you can run your laptop. It'll run your laptop for days off of this. A standard television set for maybe 7 or 8 hours. An electric blanket, again, I wouldn't take that when I'm camping, but 3.9 hours. But you can see you can do quite a lot with one of these little 500 watt hour Jackeries.
Let's go on to something else, Mike. We got a lot of things to share here.
Okay, so Blue Eddy also makes one. Theirs is a base in the U.S. cost on it's about $488. It's a 600 watt AC pure sine wave inverter, and you want to basically do pure sine waves only for this kind of stuff. And then I think all of them are. Now, if you notice this has a 600 watt inverter, but it has a smaller battery. So you can think of the inverter as the horsepower of your engine, and the watt hour capacity is how big of a gas tank. So it has a smaller gas tank than the Jackery unit, but it has a bigger inverter, more horsepower, smaller gas tank. And they can, you can recharge these a variety of ways. You can plug them into your car cigarette lighter. You can get a solar panel. You can plug them into the wall outlet. And they've got ports that you can power all kinds of stuff. USB-C outs and USB-A so that you can recharge your phones, plug in your solar panels. And I believe that the Blue Eddy also has a Bluetooth link so that you can sit there and look on your phone and control it.
And you buy that where, Mike?
The Blue Eddy, the only source I know from that is Amazon. There may be other sources out there. That's the only one I'm familiar with.
Oh, okay.
I know that the ones from Jackery, they do a lot of direct sales. You can also get them on Amazon, but they do direct marketing like crazy. The third one that I've got, and I've got all of these to play with. Southwire has one of those, basically a 500 watt hour unit. So their Southwire 500, I can't remember the name of they've got some fancy name for it. My poor brain. But yeah, it's got 2 AC outlets, 4 USB-A ports, USB-C port. And it's got a number, it also has a little light on it that lights up. They're actually really, really nice units. And again, they claim you can run a 32-inch LED TV for more than 9 hours, and I believe that. You can charge it from 0 to 100% in as little as 4 hours if you plug it into a wall outlet. And you can see what's going on with them. It's got a nice high contrast LCD. So those are the 3 manufacturers up so far.
Okay.
And then there's another one, the EcoFlow. They do a lot of the bigger stuff for RVs, but they have these solar generators. So here's their River 2. It's basically a 256 watt hour one. And it has a 600 watt AC output. So not as much battery as a Jackery, but a little more AC output, a little more horsepower. And again, it's got their EcoFlow smart app, 5-year warranty on the unit, 12-month warranty on the solar panel. The only place I know is to get it on the website. They've got a full kit.
And so that's really a compact little situation. But what do you do when like for me, a lot of times, of course, I told you the funny story about car camping with my family, but a lot of people like to, get to the place and then throw on a backpack. What have you got for them?
Well, I actually I'm going to be going to Italy here in a few days. Yay! And so I've got one of these. I don't know how you pronounce it. Ineu? I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, let's try that.
One of the. Yeah. So this is basically just like a little battery brick. It's got USB-A and USB-C outputs. But the beauty of this thing is it'll recharge your phone at least 5 times. I've done it with my iPhone 12. And you can see it's got a little gas gauge on it. It shows you this at 84%. So you could throw this in your backpack. And then, if you're out, we want to go hike around for a couple of days, you can completely recharge a standard iPhone for 4 or 5 times from 0 to 100% in a little over an hour. It's with a USB-C connections. Pretty darn slick.
That would be really good for my wife, but she'd have to charge it up before she went.
You can, and you can get little, you can get USB-C folding solar panels for this if you want, or you can just plug it into your car and it'll be charged up by the time you get there. It depends what you want to do with it. I'm not taking a solar panel to Italy. I'm going to charge it up, and then when I'm running around the olive groves and whatnot, if I run out of, what'll happen is I will take hundreds, thousands of pictures while I'm there.
Right.
And I've done this. Last time I was there, I had killed the battery in my phone because I was taking pictures like crazy, right?
Yeah.
So my wife said, make sure you get all the pictures this time. And I said, okay, I'm getting one of these.
Yeah. Mike, there are just so many really good examples that you're sharing with everybody and the best way to get them. But when we get back, I want you to talk about how solar has started to become like the power source for tent campers and, of course, RVers and, of course, people that want to be able to deal with, blackouts and brownouts. So let's take a break real quick here.
Three problems every RV owner notices on their very first trip. The AC won't start on low power while camping off-grid. Any second AC units won't run when connected to a 30-amp power pole. And repeated AC startup is noisy at night, so any rest is virtually impossible. So whether RV trips are spoiled by overheating in the RV, no 50-amp poles at the campground, or no sleep because of noisy, rattling ACs at night, RVing isn't always as cool as it looks. But there is a simple fix. Install a SoftStartRV. You'll immediately enjoy quick AC startups on low power, even using a small generator. Cool, continuous comfort all day or night. Installation takes 20 minutes. Professional installation is available.
Peace of mind that you're safe and you can run what you want when you want.
Get your SoftStartRV today.
Thanks, SoftStart USA. Let's get back to it. So Album Adventures published a great article by George L. Carey about why campers are going solar. These packages that campers are using, they can even work for people just trying to dip their toe into the water of solar power. for example, powering a medical device like a CPAP machine's completely possible with this sort of thing. But they're also choosing solar power for their RV for a few other reasons.
Right.
So,
I know these reasons, Mike.
okay, what do you think? What do you
Well,
not like about generators?
well, I mean, in a lot of campgrounds, they have restrictions where, it comes to a certain time, you got to turn off that generator. And they don't want that noise. And, for me, I don't want to hear the noise. I want to be listening to the birds sing or listen to the wind blow through the trees or maybe the sound of the ocean. Turn off that gas generator.
Right. And that's the thing. I've done a bunch of tests on this. I'm actually a pro sound engineer. I know what decibels are. and they're disturbing as all get out. Contractor generators are the worst. They don't have any sound insulation on them, and they have really cheap mufflers, and they could be as loud as something called 68 decibels SPL. More on that. I'll do an article for you later on that. But even the quiet generator, so I have a number of the Honda inverter generators, they can be as low as 52 decibels when they're running. But you can still hear it from across the yard if you're in a quiet place. Nothing is as quiet as the sun.
Yeah, and there's no moving parts, right? I mean,
Right.
That's the thing about these things. They're so small. And, let's talk about money because everybody's interested in money. And usually you think you're going to go camping, you're going to be off grid. But, if we talk about using solar power to generate things, maybe it costs a little bit more in the beginning, but you don't need gasoline. You don't need maintenance. I mean, there are a lot of people that really want to have that generator power, but they don't want to deal with cleaning those carburetors. They don't want to lift it. And, there's more on that coming up. Mike, why don't you zero in on something really specific?
Okay, so first off, these so-called solar generators, they're safer to use, so there's no flammables. If any of you have ever had a gasoline fire, it is scary as all get out. I don't like carrying flammable material inside of a metal box or inside of my tent. Just don't like it. So you don't have to worry about gasoline or propane with them. There's no carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide is one of those silent, deadly gases that can, in fact, kill you in your sleep. So you've got to be careful when you're doing gasoline generators or propane generators where they're placed.
Yeah.
So where the fumes go. So there's no fumes with this at all.
Going outside, going camping, having memories, everybody wants to go on an adventure, but they want to make it lightweight. Everybody's taking too much. Whereas, when you're out there, you're packing the car, you need to have everything put away in a certain place. And, when you all of a sudden have to make room for your daughter's other 2 bags, or, hey, I need more space. So everything has to be, for me, lightweight means more space that you could put other stuff in. I
Right.
mean, the key is to go out and have the memories. So, for me, I really, I'm all about moving to something that makes you more comfortable, lightweight, don't have to schlep it around. What
Right.
about you?
And the other thing too is, if you take a gasoline generator, you've also got to take a gas can with you. You have to take one of those jerry cans, and then nobody likes the fumes of those things in your car. And so, as good as these things can be, it is still one more layer of maintenance and room and weight and smell. These solar generators, these little solar battery packs, have none of those issues.
Yeah, that is so right. For me, I want to make it easy. So, Mike, we're going to be coming up on the next episode. What are we going to do there?
Okay. Let's see. Our next episode, I think we're going to be going into doing this in your trailer. So I'm
Right.
going to have some examples of at least 3 trailers. One is mine, and
Right.
a couple of other ones that we've seen at the Hershey show that I was just at a month or so ago.
Right.
More of the RV manufacturers are seeing that people want to do this. They're seeing people retrofit this. So guess what they're doing? They're offering it as options now. So we're going to talk about options. We're going to talk about upgrades and how it makes you more comfortable when you're camping.
Mike, I can't wait to get started. I want to thank everybody out there for tuning in to another episode of Zapp Savvy, how you're powering up your adventures and charging your life with new exciting knowledge to be able to go on your next adventure.
And thank you again to our sponsor, SoftStart USA.
Please be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And Mike, please tell them to do what?
Be sure to comment what you liked, what you didn't like, and what you want to see us cover next. We want to cater this podcast to you, and we love your feedback.
Mike, I want you to also ask them to send us their questions. But hey, you know what? You got it, folks. Please send us your questions. And thank you so much. And see you next time on
Zapp Savvy.